What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. A lot of you guys have Cane Corso puppies, and I know this just because of all the DMs you guys send me of your adorable, brand new Cane Corso puppies. A lot of those DMs are followed up with how smart their Cane Corso puppy is, how quickly their Cane Corso puppy was potty trained, how their Cane Corso puppy is the smartest puppy they've ever owned. And then months will pass, and those same individuals will DM me about issues they're having with their Cane Corso puppy, which isn't really a puppy anymore, it's an adolescent now. It's going through puberty. All of a sudden, their Cane Corso stop listening. Their Cane Corso may be out of control. Their Cane Corso just acts like a maniac. A lot of people may have had recall down to a T. And now the recall with the Cane Corso is almost worthless and not working. Have you guys ever experienced this with any breed of dog, not just Cane Corso, but any breed of dog you've owned? Let me know in the comments below what behavior your dog displayed and the steps you took to fix it. Now, we should definitely get Big Dude over here, my best friend. Oh, speaking of best friends, check it out. My best friend has fangs. We got Bruce Wayne, and like, my best friend has fangs. I love this shirt. This is my new favorite shirt. Check out the link in the description box. I know I have a merch box I talk about, but there's always some lag with YouTube and allowing me to add new shirts to my merch box. But if you click in the description, the actual Teespring merch link, it will bring you to my merch page with everything. We have cups, we have t-shirts, we have sweatshirts, we have phone cases, we have fanny packs, we have masks. So check that out if you want one. Yo, Bruce Wayne, let's go. We need you for the video, bro. These people need to see my best friend. You're the star of the show, hey, bro. So we're gonna talk about when you're a little devil. Do you remember that? When your hormones were raging and he was going through puberty? That's what we're gonna talk about right now. All right, since we got Bruce Wayne here, before we start the video, Bruce Wayne, what do I gotta do? Subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, ring my ding-a-ling so you miss any of the newest videos on Cane Corsos or Bruce Wayne. Dogs, just like people, go through puberty. Hormones are raging, and when hormones are raging, you act a little bit out of character. Your decision making may not be the best, and dogs are the same exact way, guys. Dogs go through puberty. So you're once completely in control, Cane Corso, now maybe out of control, and you don't know why. You're worried that you're doing something wrong, which you may be. That's where proper training prior to they hit puberty is extremely important. It will make this whole entire phase, which probably is the absolute worst phase of owning a dog, even worse than puppyhood. I'm not a fan of puppies, guys. I love playing with puppies, they're cute and everything, but they are a lot of work. This may be even a more difficult phase because it gets so frustrating because you feel like all the work you put in is just gone, poof, out the door. And that's not the case. So I just want to kind of ease your guys' minds that this behavior, if you've properly trained your dog, if you know what you're doing with your dog, is perfectly normal and it will pass. You just want to make sure you're an amazing leader to your dog, the best that you can possibly be. And it's crazy the amount of people that just don't understand how to work with their dog, how to communicate with their dog, what their dog needs. And that's why I'm always pushing people to the courses linked in the description box. There's a perfect puppy course, which is great for not only first-time puppy owners, but if you haven't had a puppy for 4, 5, 6, 10 years, you need to refresh your memory. There's a canine boot camp course, which basically uses the same exact philosophies and principles of how I train Bruce Wayne. Then we have a raw course as well, if you want to get your dog on a raw diet so he looks as shiny as Bruce Wayne. And then last, we have the Ultimate Breed Cane Corso bundle, which is all 3 of those courses, plus an extra one, which is just on Cane Corsos themselves. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because it's kind of relevant to my situation right now. I don't know which video is going up first. I did a vlog talking about it the same day I'm shooting this, so I'm not sure which one's gonna go up first. But currently, Bruce Wayne, his hormones are raging. Yes, Tips Ahoy is wanting to get put in places. And this isn't the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last. He got whiff of a dog in heat at daycare. So now for the next 3 weeks, he is going to be out of his mind. And I also think there's something in the area that's in heat, because the same times every night and in the morning, he sleeps all morning. He never wakes me up, but he's been coming in the bedroom around 4 a.m. and whining. Also, he never whines unless he's got poo nanny on his mind. And then also around 9 o'clock at night, he just can't not lay down. He's got to be outside. Then he'll come in, he's got to be outside. So I figured hormones, puberty. This is a good time to talk about this topic. So if your dog is displaying the type of behavior I was talking about when they're an adolescent, first and foremost, ask yourself, have you done everything within your power to completely obedience train your dog? If not, then I would highly suggest either hiring a trainer to work with you or going through the Canine Boot Camp course. Everyone always says to me, you're so lucky that Bruce Wayne is so well-mannered and so obedient and listens so well. It's not luck, guys. It's literally the copious amount of time my wife and I have spent with Bruce Wayne, training him, communicating with him. It doesn't happen overnight. He didn't come out a perfect angel. And yes, there were bumps in the road along the way. I wish I was filming it along the way to share you guys, but that's when, when we get a second Cane Corso, which I don't think we're ever going to hit 1 million subscribers, guys. We're not even close. Subs completely dropped off the board. So it's not happening by August 20th. I can promise you that, as much as I want it to. But if we ever do get a second Cane Corso, I will be able to show you all these tips and things going forward, the hurdles that I went through, because they will be there when I get another Cane Corso. It's not perfect. Now, when my Cane Corso hit puberty, he was already obedience trained. I could have him recall off leash, no problems. He listened to everything I said, no problems. But once puberty hit, that fully changed. All of a sudden, my perfectly obedient Cane Corso stopped being perfectly obedient. And if it wasn't for all of the training put in prior to him hitting puberty, it would have been much, much harder to deal with. You can expect your Cane Corso to start pushing the limits, stop listening to you. Or maybe they'll listen to you, but they won't be as quick as they used to be. You guys know I'm not a dog trainer, so I just like to share my firsthand experiences with you guys to help you guys out as dog owners, not dog trainers, so you can have the best Cane Corso on your hands possible. Learn from my mistakes, learn from what I did, what I didn't do. So I'm going to give a very good example of one thing that was really difficult for a little while, and it was his recall. Now, as you guys know, I have a fenced-in backyard, so we just let him out. He's not in a leash. We just let him out to the bathroom. He can go out there whenever he wants, play outside. But when I call him to come inside, I expect him to come inside. And that was not a problem until puberty hit. Puberty hit, and he would just stand in the middle of the yard. He wouldn't come in. Or he would come up to the door like he wanted to come in. You'd go to let him in, and he'd run off because he wanted you to come out and play with him. You would call him back, and he wouldn't come. You would go outside to try to get closer to have him heel or follow you, and he would run. No matter what I did, he just wouldn't listen. There's no way for me to correct him because he doesn't have a leash on. What do you do in that situation? Unfortunately, the dog wins the battle, but the dog doesn't win the war. And what I mean by that is, it is what it is. If you keep telling the dog to come and it's not, it's starting to instill in their mind that, hey, there's no negative punishment if I don't do what my owner says. So every time I keep telling him to come and he doesn't, it's just ingraining that more in his brain that, hey, nothing happens if I don't listen to my owner. So in that situation, it is what it is, and you just basically have to go inside until the dog wants to come in on his own. What I did to resolve that issue is I would start putting his long lead on him. I had like a 10-foot lead, and I'd put it on him. That way, if I'd called him in and he didn't recall, I could give him a collar pop, and he's like, oh crap, I still have to listen to my dad even though I don't want to. And that's a really big thing when training Bruce. We had a leash and collar on him at all times in the house. That way, if he was doing something we didn't want him to do, we could correct him. If we wanted to give him a command and he wasn't listening, we could correct him. If he was getting into something that he wasn't supposed to, we could correct him. Because words oftentimes when you're training a dog are not enough. They don't understand English. So a correction has to come at the proper timing with your words. And a correction doesn't have to be harsh. It doesn't have to hurt the dog, but it needs to be there. And this is where your leadership really comes into play here. You don't think when Bruce was not listening to me, running around the backyard, when I had to go somewhere and he wouldn't come in the house, I wasn't like level 10 frustrated and wanted to scream at him? Of course I did. I'm human. But that's not gonna get me anywhere. This around me, this all needs to be a happy place, okay? If this is not a happy place, why is he going to want to come to me when I call him? He's not. If I'm screaming at my dog, he's not going to want to come to me because I am scaring him. So He may come out of fear, but he's not going to want to. So that's not really the way I like to train any of my dogs. And then obviously, keeping a leash on him, correcting him when he didn't come in. As time passes, the hormones start to level out a little bit. They're not raging, and they start listening once again. Once again, you're starting to get your perfect dog that you always wanted, that 2 months ago was a perfect angel, and now is a little devil. So as a leader, you really need to display your patience, especially during this phase. This is probably one of the most frustrating phases. So patience is key. These guys are extremely sensitive emotionally, also physically. He's got a lot of mastiffs have very sensitive digestive systems. But overall, they're just a sensitive breed. They're sensitive to the surroundings. They're sensitive to emotions. They're sensitive to how you feel. They're sensitive to everything. I've never had such a sensitive dog. He's walking around heartbroken right now after being around a dog in heat. He's literally crying on the inside right now, guys. Actually, things like an e-collar would have been absolutely perfect in that scenario. I've never used an e-collar. I am for e-collars, long as they're used humanely. See, a common misbelief is an e-collar or a shock collar, you're hurting the dog. Now, typically these have levels, right? They have the lowest level and the highest level. You're not keeping it in the highest level. It should always be at the lowest level possible. Now, if your dog's jetting into the street and not listening, yeah, you might want to crank that up and say its name and, like, you know, give it a little buzz to stop him. But for the most part, it's more of a vibration, almost like me, Bruce, tapping him saying, Bruce, good boy, buddy. And you see how he turned his head and looked at me? Yes, good boy. That's almost what it's like. So when we get another Cane Corso, if that ever happens, then yes, I'm most likely going to train it with an e-collar because I think it would be amazing, especially for recall. Recall would be great. I taught him recall with a long line, but an e-collar, that would make things way less messy because he's not dragging around a 10-20 foot lead. So I hope this video just kind of put things into perspective, eased your minds a little bit, because I do get a lot of DMs from you guys that are concerned that your Cane Corso all of a sudden stopped listening when a month ago it was a perfect angel. It's normal, it's a phase, it will pass, but this is where you really need to step up your leadership skills. You really probably need to start even doing more obedience work. He's on command all day long. I'm drilling him around the house right now because he's very anxious because of his situation. He's around a dog in heat. He wants to be with that dog. He can't be. So he's showing levels of anxiety. So by me directing him, making him sit in this spot, stay here, I can go do something, take him off, move him, sit him, stay. It's less he's got to think about. He's like, okay, now he's focusing on, instead of this female dog, he's focusing a little bit more on, okay, I have to stay here because my best friend that doesn't have fangs told me to stay here. So he's got to focus, and it's just going to mentally tire him out, make his life a little bit easier. And then in these 3 weeks, this is week 2. Week 2 is usually the worst. Week 3, it starts dying out. This is the start of week 2. That's why he's also looking, if you can tell, you might not be able to tell, I stare at him every single day. He's getting really skinny. His face is even starting to look sucked up because he's barely been eating. But again, that will pass. He will start eating. Don't freak out like I did the first time. I had no clue what was going on. I thought Bruce Wayne was dying. I'm like, he won't eat. It's been a week. He's just barely eating, and it's just normal. All right, guys, make sure you do all the things on the way out. Thanks for watching. Lots more content to come. Share these videos with all your Cane Corso and all your non-Cane Corso dog friends because it really helps out the channel. The more the channel grows, the more time I'm gonna be able to put into it, meaning more videos for you guys. So it works out for both parties and it helps me feed this dude. He's very expensive to feed. All right, guys, appreciate you. Thank you for all the love and support. All right, guys, talk to you next time. Peace.